Hello, everyone, and welcome to another ABC Read, ABC Learn presentation. My name is Seisha. Some of you know me as Anissa, and what I've been doing is putting together different videos that can help my parents, caregivers, educators when it comes to reading to your children, all right, or reading to your students. And today's presentation is dealing with the types of questions that can be asked either during the read aloud or after the read aloud. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. Let me pull up my screen. All right. Do a share screen for everyone. All right. All right, so you guys should be able to, there we go. I was looking to make sure that I saw myself up there in the right-hand corner. All right. And as you all can see on the slide, the first slide, it says lower order thinking questions and higher order thinking questions during and after a read aloud, okay? All right. And so, of course, we first have to know what a lower order thinking question and a higher order thinking question is, correct? So let's go, let's dig right on in. There we go, there we go. Sorry about that one. You know how this technology is, y'all. You know how this stuff is. It's like the stuff pop up all slow and all of that. And it's like, are you serious? So, all right, let me move. I want you guys to see. You know how I do. We're developing the culture of literacy in the Black community. I make sure that on my presentations that I have images of Black folks, okay? Black folks surrounded by books, Black folks surrounded by education, and of course that is done definitely purposely, okay? So for those of you who have been following what it is that we do here in ABC Read, ABC Learn, this is not nothing new to you. So first, what is a lower order thinking question? Well, lower order thinking questions are just recall or do you remember basic information type of questions, okay? Now, they are meant to test a person's memory on basic information that they have learned. So 3 examples are, number 1, in the story, The 3 Little Pigs, which house did the wolf blow down first? All right. So the answer to that question, you know, would be quite simply, I believe it was the straw home that he blew down first. So that's real simple, right? That's something to where that's basic, right? That you find in a story, not anything really deep, right? Number 2, another lower order thinking type of question is, what is 2 plus 2? All right? Simple, right? 2 plus 2, straight answer, basic, 4. Number 3, in the fable, The Lion and the Mouse, how did the mouse get the lion out of the ropes? A child would answer, by chewing on the ropes. All right. So real simple. Once again, like I said, you know, those are, you know, what are called lower order thinking questions. Okay. All right. Here's the next slide. What are higher order thinking questions? Higher order thinking questions. Okay. Let me back up here again. All right. Higher order thinking questions are asked so a person can go more in depth with their answer. These are questions that are meant to build critical thinking skills and problem solving skills. So 3 examples of those types of questions would be, what message was the moral of the fable, The Tortoise and the Hare? And why is that an important lesson to learn? Okay, so those of you who are familiar with The Tortoise and the Hare, you know with that fable, it was a race between the slow tortoise or turtle and the fast hopping hare or bunny, okay? And so with that fable, the hare, what was the hare doing? The hare went on and first of all, the hare was like, hey man, I could beat you, tortoise. He pretty much was like, I could beat you with my eyes closed, with one leg. You know, he was just being extremely boastful, right? He was just like, hey, look, I got this. I can do this. As a matter of fact, even during the fable, he took a break. He went on the side and chilled. And the tortoise was like, okay, go ahead, make it do what it do. I'm going to run my race, you run yours. And so the tortoise, he stayed on his path. He continued on until he reached the finish line. And then by the time he pretty much was at the finish line, the hare realized, oh my God, he woke up from his nap and was like, oh snap. And he wound up losing the race. The moral to that was what? Number one, slow and steady wins the race. Number two, don't be boastful and prideful. Don't think you got it all under wraps when it comes to something. You make sure that you put in your work, all right? And also you don't try to demean your opponent and act as if like they don't have something to bring, okay? And so that right there, again, higher order thinking question. Then you see what that took a lot of depth, right? That took a lot of, deep thinking when it came to answering those questions. And why was it important, right? Okay, so I already answered what the lesson was and why it was important. Number two, why did the mother tell her daughter to visualize beating her opponent in the martial arts competition? All right, again, that's a higher order thinking question. Okay, so that child will have to really think, number one, okay, visualize. Okay, that means to picture something, right? So why would the mother do that? Why would the mother tell her daughter to visualize in her head beating her opponent? A person could answer, with, because the mother wanted that child to focus. That mother wanted that child to make sure that they can have a picture in their mind of what it is that they were going to do when it came to that competition. And that's important when we are taking care of whatever it is that we need to take care of, or if we are in a competition or race, or if we're just taking care of our business, right? We have to visualize and focus. And the third example is, why is it important to tell your parents if you are being bullied? Okay, so again, higher order thinking questions. Why is that important? So a child may say, well, it's important because that parent should know, what's going on with that child if that child is in danger. Okay, if that child is faced with some serious obstacles. Okay, also it's teaching the child to speak up. All right, so you see how, again, with higher order thinking questions, you tend to give just more than just the one word answer. You have to really, really go deep when you are trying to give an answer to those higher order thinking questions. All right. And next, should I wait until after the read aloud to ask those questions, or during the read aloud? Okay. Excuse me for a couple of my typos. I see I put R instead of or, so please forgive me. All right. So question is, should you wait until after the read aloud to ask those questions, or during the read aloud? Well, if you're reading to kids or adults and trying to keep them engaged in the story, then you could stop and ask questions. Hence, that's where the whole interactive read aloud process comes into play. A lot of times that happens, especially when you have those pre-K through third grade, students that you may be reading to, or pre-K through third grade children that you have. It's good to, do a whole stop and ask, to make sure that they are paying attention, to the story, and also too, it keeps them, again, like I put on the slide, it keeps them engaged in the story. Okay. Because, when they're young, their attention span is definitely a lot shorter. All right. So you want to make sure that they are right on track with the story that you're reading. If your goal is to get them into reading, then do not stop and ask them questions. That can take them out of their reading zone, all right? Especially while reading chapter books. This is when they have to get their visualization and focus game on. They aren't relying on pictures on the pages. They are making mental pictures in their mind, all right? So that's when I would say you would wait, or you should wait, to after the read aloud, okay, to ask questions about what it is that you've read aloud to, what you have read aloud to them, all right? Also, you can save the higher order questions for after the read aloud. I would definitely suggest that, you know, and really a lot of it too has to do with you being able to gauge, you know, your audience, gauge the children that you're reading to. Sometimes if you feel like it, you may want to ask maybe one or two higher order questions to get that child to really think about what it is that they are reading. And you want to find out right then and there during the story what's on their mind. How would they have solved that problem? All right. The lower order questions are actually great during the read aloud and after, in my opinion. You could do, like I said, lower order questions both times. All right. And typically, usually with those lower order questions, again, like I said, a lot of times we tend to do that with the younger children to make sure that they're engaged. Or, you know, if you want to just challenge, you know what I'm saying, you know, even if you do it with older kids, that's fine. You can, you know, make sure that they are staying engaged in the story as well. And you can ask them a couple of questions to make sure that, you know, they got their concentration and their focus game on, all right? So with that being said, recap once again. This video was dealing with what are called lower order thinking questions and higher order thinking questions. All right, lower order thinking questions are the ones that test recall and memory. Higher order thinking questions, they require a more in-depth answer. They build critical thinking skills and problem solving skills, all right? This is great for that decision making. We are building that in our children, all right? That's why reading aloud and engaging and talking to them about what it is that you've read aloud is so important. It's so key to do that every day. It really, really helps to build their skills in making decisions, all right? Also, we talked about questions during the read aloud or after, and when should I ask the lower and higher order questions. Questions can be asked both times, all right? So they can be asked either during the read aloud or after, hence the interactive read aloud experience, keeping those who are listening to the read aloud engaged. And then you can also save the higher order questions for after the read aloud, all right? All right, so with that being said, and of course we see our beautiful author right there, Miss Toni Morrison, all right? Our children should know who she is. And here is my last slide. And this is our dear brother. May he rest in peace. And again, may Toni Morrison as well. May she rest in peace. Walter Dean Myers, he said, we need to tell kids flat out, reading is not optional. And I'm going to end with that, y'all. All right, you guys, I hope that you all gain much benefit from this video, and make sure that you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, ABC Read, ABC Learn. We are here to help develop a culture of literacy in the Black community. And please make sure that you are continuing to read for at least 30 minutes a day. Peace.